Okay, here's the deal. I have a very clean, or what appears to be clean, 2000 Chevy Cavalier. Until last week, when the brake pedal went down. I mean, even the doors on this thing are beautiful. Bought this, I want to say 3 years ago, but maybe it's been 4 years ago. It's been a great car, actually, for the small, cheap car that it is. Inexpensive, whatever. So, I am doing brakes now. I'm just gonna go along, talk about a little bit what I ran into here. The brake lines, all the way up until about here or so, middle of the back door, they seem pretty rust free yet, but once you get to the back, or about that point, I'll take you underneath. I should have jacked the other tire up on this thing, but it's too late now because I'm almost done. Okay. I don't know why they could have put this line on this cross member here. They could have put it on the back of it. Why didn't they do that? There's plenty of room there, you know. Okay, that's a new line that I ran. Bent it all myself. I bought a 3-foot section and a 6-foot section. I don't like to do that. I like to make my own, but I was just trying to get it done a couple days ago fast. And anyway, that's kind of a sucker because right in here there's another connection point where you put two of them together. So it's hard to get that 6-foot long piece in there. And you gotta take this canister box out, or charcoal box or something. It's something for emissions, I believe. It's just one bolt, and then it slides into that bracket right there on the other end. Anyways, to get these old connections off, you have to save your old pieces of carpet. They're really nice for going under cars. Use these special wrenches. You can't use the normal wrench. What do they call them? Brake line wrench. That's what I call them. There's another name for them too, I think. You can get them fairly cheap. You can get like a whole set for 20 bucks. Actually, I did buy more. Oh, that came with connectors. I forgot about that. Oh shit. Oh well, I needed these big ones here. I just cleaned the old ones up. Yeah, if you're gonna buy brake line, get this aluminum stuff. A lot easier to bend, I guess, and it's a lot more corrosion resistant. I did brakes on another vehicle, an old Dakota, 5 or 6 years ago, and I used all steel lines. It's not that bad, but a lot of people say you need a bender. But you can just bend them around a can or a big socket in a vise. I did it all by hand, I think. Anyways, I'll show you what I run into under here. Oh good, it's not leaking. I got one of the connectors done last night. These guys, I had no clue because my other vehicle did not have them, or it had a different type. Dodge must do it different. I thought they were just one of these connectors, which has 2 nuts on each end, but they're not. They call it a proportioning valve, I guess, and it sends equal pressure from the front brakes to the rear brakes. I believe they only have that when you have drum brakes on the rear and disc brakes on the front, which is most older vehicles. Most stuff nowadays has four-wheel disc. I'm sure some still have drums on rear. Anyways, I was thinking when I did that, I'm like, why do they use such a big chunk of aluminum that can't just be a union, I guess is what they call them, to mend the brake line together? Otherwise, you just have two male ends. So you need a piece with a female. Union, they call it. We're going under. Ugh. I don't even know if I can get this on camera. Might be too tight. We got enough light. That's the union. Or the, I guess it's a union you'd call it, and a brake line proportioner. Strange, but my old Dakota truck didn't have that. Never ran into that on that. Anyways, here's all the brake lines, and then I believe that's two gas lines in between. And it's fairly clean. I'm going to spray it down with that fluid film, which keeps metal from rusting. I mean, they look really good compared to the section I cut off. And a little tight getting it up in there, but and pre-bending all them, making them work is tough, but it can be done even when the car is barely off the ground, because I'm doing it. And I got my next line, and that baby's gonna go right here. I just have to finish bending it a little bit. It's just gonna connect to there. I have these little rubber grommet stoppers. That's keeping the brake fluid from totally going dry in the reservoir. And that will connect that to the left rear. And then we should have brakes again. And upon closer inspection, this right here is where the other one connects. I put a little plug in there to keep dirt from falling in. It's got a little rubber flex tube on it, and I can see I'm going to have to replace this one too. I'm going to try and get through the winter with that. I'm just going to spray fluid film on it. It's pretty, almost as cruddy as the stuff that was leaking. That was hard to replace. If that blows in the winter, I won't even have to jack the car up. It'll be easy. Easy peasy. But these brake bleeders, on the other hand, they look pretty crusty, rusty too. So I hope they unscrew. I soaked them down with penetrating oil one time. And all this was full of brake fluid back here. I did wash that off. It was all over the exhaust and everything, and I was working under there, so I didn't want to make the ground all wet, so I just used a little pump sprayer, just with water. Actually, I did put a little bit of soap in it, and I did clean it up pretty good. That's the fluid film stuff I was talking about. Do that once or twice a year. It helps keep it from rusting. I did this a year and a half or 2 years after I got the car. I did spray underneath. I never jacked it up. I just got on my carpet and hands on my knees. But as you can tell, I wouldn't have been able to get at that line because it's kind of hidden. You can't hardly see it, especially with the car not jacked up. Here's some of the other tools. So I'm having to flare the brake lines on one end. The old brake line piece going to the front. This is about one of the cheapest brake line, what do they call it? What's it called, huh? Flaring tool. And they do work. Looks like I'll need a new washer on there. Well, anyways, I think I paid 10 or 15 bucks. I think you get them for 20 bucks now. When you do that, cut the line with these, it doesn't cut them exactly straight. Do I got a piece here? Yes, I do. I don't know if this is going to pick it up. Well, there's one of my perfect flare jobs. Ain't that nice? Then I had to redo it because I forgot to put the nut on the first time. Then I had to redo it because I had to put the bigger nut on the second time. So I'm good at it again. I'm a pro again. But anyways, it doesn't cut it. I don't know if that's going to pick it up exactly flat. And to get a good flare on these cheap tools, you need to... Seems like it's worked every time. I noticed that. Last time when I did the brakes, I thought it was just the cheap tool I was using. I think it's just the cutters, and I think all these cutters, they don't cut it exactly 90. It turns into a, I don't know what you call it, it's got a bump on it. So anyway, when you do it, file the end as flat as you can. And every time I've done that, I've gotten perfect flares, even with this cheap tool. Little tip. Aw, what are you guys doing to her? Someone's getting happy. Just walk around a few times. Oh, she didn't like your dance. These tools are pretty simple to use too. I'm not going to go into that. They even got instructions on them. Well, the one I got anyways did. So that's my project. Hopefully I'll have her done today finally. Like and subscribe if you liked this video, or if you didn't like it, tell me what I could have done better.